going on, everyone? Welcome to this week's episode of River City 93. As you can tell, it's a little bit brighter outside. The sun's out. Matt face is glowingly positive because the Kickers had a PK win at home. I still don't know how to emotionally feel about PK results, but how do you feel about it, man? How should we feel about a PK win at home and a dead rubber?
Better than PK loss at home.
That is true,
right? I think it's good for morale. Whether that's in the locker room, in the stands, in the front office, getting that winning feeling. No matter how vital or not vital the win may have been in the grand scheme of things, can only be a plus.
Yeah. Talking about pluses, we'll talk about youth update later because now we have a bunch of kids scattered across the country playing at various spots. And there were a couple of positives in the game. Granted, there were a couple of moments where I was just like, this isn't what I need to see out of this team or what I came accustomed to. But there were a couple of positives. One of those positives was Landon Johnson, who I'm very happy he got to start. When I saw the lineup, Darren kind of shift things around a little bit. We saw Dak going to the left back spot. Griffin Garnett, who signed a contract with the club. Congrats to him. Is it a multi-year deal? I didn't get that far into reading. Is it multi-year?
I'm pretty sure they said it was a multi-year. I mean, they would be all parties involved would be absolute fools to have not had that be a multi-year contract.
Like, hey, kid, forget your college eligibility. Just sign this 1-year deal.
Yeah, halfway through the season.
Yeah, right. So yeah, you had Dak, Griffin Garnett, Gee. You had Simon Fitch, of course. You had Zaka in the midfield. I was really trying to nail down what Chandler was playing. It felt like it was like left mid, attacking mid, center mid, kind of like wherever he needed to be. And then you also had Justin Sukow. We'll get to him later. Neil, Landon, and then Emmy with Ryan Shellow and goal, of course. So overall thoughts on the lineup that Darren was going for? Granted, once again, it's the USL Cup match. They kind of already know they're out of it because we're not making up a 12-goal differential in 2 games. But
I think it's only like 8-goal differential. So
okay,
totally different. I thought the lineup was interesting. Happy to see Landon get a run out. We talked about that in the last few episodes. At least, if nothing else, he's willing to take the ball direct. At the goal, he's not showing any level of fear. There, and this offense can use some directness, and I think he is somebody who's able and was able on Saturday to bring that to the team. So I thought that was nice to see him in the first team. Sukow showing back up in the team again. That was cool. The Dak left back, he can do it. I don't love it, but that's really not that big a deal. And yeah, Shellow is back to being the Jaeger keeper.
Yeah. Yeah, I do kind of feel like he's made the cup competition his. Because talking to him last night at the press conference, he said that he really thrives in PKs. Like that's something he really looks forward to. It's kind of weird. And goalkeepers are also very weird people. But if you can watch, and I know Matt just informed me that the audio from it isn't very clear, so I apologize for that. But if you go back and look at the video, you can see his face kind of light up when he starts talking about PKs and how excited he is about it. This is that guy's special quality. It's almost like the you remember the 2014 World Cup when the Netherlands had a goalkeeper just what was it, Tim Krul, just for PKs? That's kind of like Shallow's thing. He's a specialty goalkeeper just for that.
Yeah. So I think that's probably underselling him a little bit. I think he can
right.
be perfectly solid and fine all around goalkeeper, but like you said, goalkeepers got to be a little weird to want to play that position, and you have to have some irrational levels of confidence, especially going in to the shootout, and
Yeah.
it paid off.
It did, because in the second half, like I was down there near y'all in section O, and like if you looked at them during the PK shootout, like you could tell, like after it was like the first couple of ones, it was really after Emmy's miss, which shocked me. You can see him like get even more intense and like more revved up for it. And to be honest with you, like when Emmy missed it, I'm not gonna lie, I thought like, all right, it's a wrap. Because PKs are set up for goalkeepers not to win.
I was pretty sure that they'd not score on one of them, whether there was they missed the goal or hit the post or get saved. Like I usually figure 4 out of 5, and then that's kind of the baseline of it. The teams that really quote unquote deserve to win it will be able to go 5 for 5. The teams that maybe can't rise to the moment, crack under pressure, they'll be the ones hit 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, and I mean, for Shellow to make 2 saves. I mean, making 1 in the PK shootout is good. Making 2 is exceptional.
Yeah, it could have been okay if you didn't wait till the 5th one to make the save.
Right, yeah. Kind of just saved his best save for like that last one. It was like, because when he saved it, I kind of was like, oh god. And it wasn't like fingertip, like barely. No, like I think he caught it like in his mid body. Like it was a good save. He also had a couple of good saves in the game as well. Like overall, like I was telling Kate before the game, like the game seemed really sloppy because both teams had a hard time trying to control the ball. Like there was a lot of loose balls going out of bounds and whatnot. And Tormenta themselves didn't do themselves any favor because they weren't clinical. You get what I'm saying? Like, and there was a couple of chances that came in. The goal itself, like, there's nothing Shellow can do on that. We'll talk about the goal itself, but it was a couple of chances that Tormenta tried to shoot on goal that Shellow was in the right spot at the right time, made the save, and kind of made it easy. Like, I didn't feel threatened by it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think he played a perfectly fine game. Like, I don't think, clearly saving 2 in a shootout is going to be the highlight mark of the game. I think he was fine. The rest of the way through, he made straightforward saves that you would expect goalkeeper to make. More importantly, he didn't do anything, at least that I can remember, that actively hurt the team or put the team in jeopardy. And sometimes that's all you ask for out of your keeper. Like, don't actively hurt us, and go let the field players win it.
Yeah, that's true. Just like play smart, like like you said, like don't actively hurt us.
If there's one criticism, of him is, I wish he had just been able to, step up after he made that, save in round 7 and just take the penalty himself to win it.
I do wonder where
glory shots.
Yeah, I do wonder where you think Darren's traditional when it comes to goalkeeper. Was like he's the 11th one.
Probably, unless there's somebody just dire out there.
Yeah, like, I just wonder, like where does Darren put the goalkeepers at?
Yeah, I mean, I think last is probably the safe bet.
Yeah, probably so. Ask Ryan; he'll probably tell you, like, yeah, I'm number 1.
Yeah, or I should be, but
yeah, honestly, yeah. Now, how do we start off with this? We talked about the positive. Let's go ahead and dive into it. The goal itself that we gave up in the first half to Tormenta. This is where I kind of picked that needle, like picked the bone with Chandler Dwyer, because I feel like it was just unnecessary. The move he was trying to do, like it was just unnecessary in the moment, and it led to a breakaway. And I can't even.
So what do you feel is unnecessary?
I think the flick on is unnecessary. Like when he received the ball, I think if he settles it, or even turns right and try to play the ball left. I think that doesn't lead to the goal opportunity for Tormenta. I think when he sits, like when the ball comes to him, he looks over his right shoulder and tries to flick it that way. Like, and the ball doesn't get the necessary height it does. Like, it leads to a breakaway because as Chandler's doing that, the kickers themselves are pushing up. And Tormenta's kind of going in the opposite direction, which leads to the breakaway. And just kind of just leaves our defense on their back heels. Like, I can't exactly tell who got the second deflection. I think, was it Griffin or Gee?
I thought it was Griffin.
It might be. But, like, Griffin's on his back heel. Like, he's not falling backwards, but he's backpedaling and just tries to put a foot to stop it. And the way there's only so much you can do in that situation. Like, that ball just takes a weird deflection off of him and lands right in the Tormenta player who slots in the back of the net, pass run. But I think it just starts with Chandler, which is kind of frustrating because it's like, this is the current issue we've seen with the kickers was situational awareness. Like, in that moment, I don't need you to do that when you have two Tormenta players on your back.
All right, so I hear you a little bit, but
yeah,
I think your other solution was be able to control and bring it down. Wouldn't that have a player or two just bearing right down on him in that moment too?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's a kind of like a hindsight 2020 thing. But
it doesn't look good at all.
No, yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't, but it's also just like, I don't need you to do that there, right? Like that, you're back towards like you're trying to do like a hope ball. Like I call that like a hope pass. Like you're hoping the ball gets there, right? Versus if you play the ball to the left, and say if the Tormenta player on your left side nicks the ball for me, you can do like a tactical foul there and slow the play up. Because you're closer there than versus you're trying to flick the ball, you're falling back, but the ball is now being played by the Tormenta player who kind of stole the ball off you and going forward. So
yeah, it's kind of like a Hollywood ball, sort of thing where if it comes off, it looks real good and you go for it, but if it doesn't, which it didn't, it can have some consequences.
Yeah. I think that's where my frustration is, just because it's like you're trying to play the Hollywood passes. Right now, I don't need you to do the Hollywood passes. I just need you to do the simple thing right. Like, just keep it simple. Because to be for real, like Tormenta did not threaten in that game at all. Like, to be honest with you, like Richmond probably was the more positive team in the game. Like the way how they started the second half, some waves in the first half. Like it just felt as if like if the kickers can avoid giving damage and mistakes to Tormenta, the kickers can ride this out and obviously they got their goal. But it never felt as if like Tormenta was putting us on a massive waves of pressure. Like NoCo was. You get what I'm saying? Like
yeah, I mean I do think there's probably like a good 20-minute spell when Tormenta was getting almost anything they wanted coming up their right side. Like they had one period where I think it was Stretch, actually his name, not just a goofy nickname we gave him. From right back was just able to carry the ball and carry the ball and carry the ball, got all the way up to the 18 and just pinged one that I thought he picked out the top corner at first, but it was the other side of the net. There was another one where they had plenty of space, were able to carry and hit it again. Try to go short side on Ryan and hit side netting instead of the target. So I think early on, Tormenta was creating some chances, but I think as the game went along, the kickers started to take more control, especially among the dangerous level chances that started to come up.
Yeah, and I mean like I kind of felt like this game kind of played into the kickers' hands in a way. Like Rich and Tormenta are so much alike in terms of like how both teams are trying to be built, like do the youth academy and develop players and things like that. But it's also like this is the game where the kickers were just like, all right, cool, like you can have the ball, like we're fine with that. It kind of works to their advantage. Like I feel like there was more directors in the team, and Landon played a huge part in that because it seemed as if like Tormenta had no way how to solve Landon. Like I think I tweeted it out there. I probably did. Like there was a moment where Landon received the ball, and like the ball got played him over the top. He received his way to the chest and immediately turns into space and like drops the ball off to Emmy. And I think a chance got created off of that. But like those are the things like that directors that the kickers are missing.
Like, yeah, it brings a little bit of pace.
Yeah. Oh my god. It was during the first half. I can't remember which moment, but there was a moment where he left his guy in the dust, and I was like, it almost made me not in the Olympics. I was like, I wonder if Landon's ever done track.
Well, possible. You mean he's already behind the times with what's his name, Quincy Wilson. Bringing back his gold medal to high school in a couple weeks.
Oh yeah! Oh god, 16 with a gold medal. That's insane. That's insane. Yeah, man. So like, you have that out there. I mean, first of all, let me back up. The goal itself, it's funny that we were talking about like Hollywood passes because Emmy does a Hollywood pass and it pays off.
I wouldn't call it that. I think like Emmy was able to pick his head up and he saw exactly where the run was going. Like I think that's different.
Yeah, true. Probably so. It's just a hell of a great pass.
Like, right. Emmy the creator, which it's not why you're here, son, but we'll take it.
Man, I remember in 2021, we were like, yeah, put Emmy at the 10. That didn't go well. And now look at him. Emmy's out here creating magical chances. Look, my fault. Also, credit to Sukow for keeping up with that run because it would have been very easily to play that ball off to Emmy and kind of just stay in your area. Like, I don't know. Have you seen the goal from like the far side view?
I mean, I watched the highlights of it. Yeah.
Okay, you saw how much space it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's what Emmy can really be able to do because you've seen the last few games. He's been dropping deep. I think partly by necessity, so that way he can touch the ball at all. But we've seen over the last what year is this for him? 5. With the kickers now, like he can be able to come back and be that kind of midfield metronome as well. Get the ball, either absorb a foul, be able to lay it off towards a wing, or in this case, he was able to find a runner going down the central channel. But what defense in League One is going to leave him alone to do that? He's going to pull at least one defender with him.
Yeah.
And in theory, that should open up some space, and in this case, it did. So that's where having a guy like Sukow who can make those runs from deep can be an asset when playing with a guy like Emmy up top.
Yeah, no, honestly, it was, and I mean the amount of space that was just opened up with him vacating that space was. Like, I'm pretty sure Ian Cameron like just took a photo of that, put it on there, and was like, "Don't do this ever again." But I mean, also like that's a part of the kickers game I would like to see a little bit more of. Like, if Emmy's going to be doing this whole drop back thing and whatnot, like we have to have guys making those runs in behind off the weak side of Emmy to make those chances. And credit to Sukow. Like, this is also his first goal at City Stadium, but credit to him for keeping up with that.
Second goal at City Stadium, but
it is. What was the other one? Because look, they kept telling me it was his first, and I was like, okay.
First one for us at City Stadium.
Oh, the Ford Madison, yeah. Oh, I forgot.
Yeah, he was nice enough not to mention that in the press conference, but
yeah, I totally blanked that out of my mind. Oh, yay! All right, that sucks.
Yeah. But good news is I think it's his third for the kickers, all of them against Tormenta. unless
Yeah.
I'm forgetting something along the way. But I'm pretty sure he had the 2 last year. This is his first this year. Uh, I know you asked him, "Is this best goal you scored?" He was nice when he said, yes, because the real answer is when he hit that Olympico last year down at Tormenta.
I, I asked him about that after we finished recording. I was like, "Yo, have you ever poked fun at Pablo about the Olympico?" He was like, "Nah." Me on the other hand, if that was me, oh, I'm putting that picture up in your locker, and I'm reminding you the
Oh,
first
just every day of practice, just stand over by the corner.
like,
Pablo.
hey, like just aggressively being petty towards him.
Yeah.
Like, hey, Pablo, you want your corner by the corner, huh? Huh? Like when the Olympics is going on, I'll be like, hey, Pablo, like I scored an Olympico. The Olympics, like, oh man, I'll be a horrible teammate. um, anything else about the first half that stood out to you? I mean, of course, we had Landon doing his thing. Griffin looked good as well. Like he cut out him and Gee back there, cut out a couple of fires.
Yeah, I think overall, I think 1-1 was close to fair as a
Yeah,
result. I think the kickers probably could have had a couple other looks. Like they're doing a good job of clamping on Emmy. Like when he would get the ball near the goal, you'd have to try to get like 5 or 6 touches in to be able to create space for himself to get a shot off, which he did a couple times, but he wasn't able to turn his body enough to get on target there. I I think guys like Landon, with a little bit more time and experience, will be able to maybe take a shot a half second earlier. Uh, Maybe be able to have a little bit of a better angle, with it then. But overall, no, I thought it was perfectly good first half.
yeah. Second half, now I wasn't watching it in the press box, but I came down to the field, and it felt like the kickers were mostly positive to start out the half. Like I haven't seen that in a long time.
Yeah.
It
Well, they
felt
made
like
3 changes at halftime too, which we don't see that often.
no, and I actually Dak is good, so there's no issues with the ankles because he took that nasty tackle in the first half.
Hmm.
Ankles fine, so we're good on that. So we avoid the injury bug been killing us this year. We avoid that. But yeah, we saw what Dak come off, Gee as well.
Yeah, yeah. Gee came off, Oni came on, Dak came off, Maxi came on, and Chandler came off. For Sierkowski.
Yeah, and we went from there. And it kind of felt like it was positive change. And that, I wouldn't say positive, like the players who got subbed out were negative, but it felt like positive change where the kickers kind of put their foot on the gas pedal a little bit and were kind of crazy. Like I remember, I think there were like 2 goal line clearances within the first 15-ish minutes.
I thought that was later in the half, but
Maybe so. Maybe I'm just not getting the time right. But it felt like the kickers were kicking on that doorstep.
yeah, there's one where Landon was kind of able to get behind down the wing, was cutting it inside, and he went for the cross. I think maybe he might have been able to take a shot, and if he didn't score, maybe there would have been a rebound that Emmy or Ryan or whoever it was in the middle of the box could have tried to clean up. Uh, that's splitting hairs a little bit,
Yeah.
uh, but yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, anything else out of the second half or PKs that caught your attention or was like,
I mean,
oh
you mentioned it. Later on, second half, did have that, one corner kick, kind of flurry. And it came in, ball was bouncing around after corner kick. Romig, their keeper, who former Kickers Academy guy,
yeah,
uh, you know, just went flailing for it, and not sure who was able to knock the ball, back into the box. But Ani, had the ball fall to his feet from like 6 yards out. He hit it hard, but it just hit a Tormenta guy.
yeah, yeah. That
So I
is
think that's realistically probably the last best chance. Like Emmy got one where he got him behind. I don't know if he didn't realize he was that alone and you know dribbled it almost all the way to the end line and then tried to cross it back when he might have been able to take one touch, and kind of square himself up, to try to curl it with his right. Joao and Emmy had one where Emmy's pressing, created a turnover, and I'm not going to kill anybody on this team for taking a shot when you're in the box, given how much we've complained about that this year. But maybe if he just laid a score to Emmy, that would have been a good choice.
When in doubt, pass to Emmy. Like it's almost like kicking and screaming, whoever. Like when in doubt, pass it to the Italians. When in doubt, pass it to Emmy. Like, there you go. That's what you need to do. Yeah. So I agree with you on that. I think the two. I know I think they said Sukow was the man of the match.
Depends on what you look at. I think Sukow was what the kickers gave. Like Fat Mob had Emmy listed.
Yeah. Well, for me personally, I'm gonna give it to Ryan Shellow. Like we gotta give goalkeeper some love. But I think like him, Sukow, Landon, I think they walk out of this game with the biggest, having their head up a little bit higher than everyone else. Like those are the three I would probably say. And, like we've all said it before, like yeah, in the grand scheme of things, like the result side of it, like it doesn't really do much at the table. But it does feel good to get a win in against a team that we're probably going to see. I think one more time before the season ends.
Yeah, we've got them in a league game at some point later on.
Yeah, and I mean honestly, like right now,
they're prime competition. Like probably one of us, them, and Chattanooga.
Yeah,
and maybe Lexington or Fuego could catch up too, but they're prime. They're one of the prime points of competition for that last playoff spot. Like, I think everybody else is probably not getting caught. Like I think the top 7 are probably going to be the top 7.
Yeah. And I mean, like honestly, right now, like we won't finish as the worst team in the cup. That would go to either Chattanooga or Spokane. So that's a positive as well. So we'll take the positives there, but we can get them. But like, put your attention now towards the league season. It gets a little rough, but it also gets a little bit more easier because after August 24th, Matt, we don't leave the East Coast time region again.
As it should be.
Yeah, which is good. Yeah, probably our 2 toughest road games left of the year, just in terms of environment and teams. But Greenville and Union Omaha. We got the Greenville game was on Friday, and I was like, why is the game on Friday? And then I realized, like, oh, Furman soccer and college football is about to start. I'm like, yeah, that's why. So,
yeah, I mean,
honestly, how do you think this game will play?
So the kickers inexplicably play well down in that stadium. Like even when other things aren't going great, they performed well there. Like actually haven't lost on the football field since Triumph moved to that stadium. So yeah, you look at it just on paper with everything. Okay, Greenville should probably be a big favorite, but it doesn't always play out quite like that. They're usually tight games when these two teams play anyway. So I mean, I think if you set the line at like 1.5 goals in the game, smart money might be on the under for it.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if it's a 1-0. So yeah, moderately hopeful they can get something. Like I'll take a draw out of that game right now if you offer it.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%.
But realistically, I think it's go in there, hope to take something away and move along.
I think, yeah, outside of that, I think the other thing too is like we have to make the game tough for Greenville. Like it can't be a repeat of the last time we played Greenville where we just gave them the game. Right? Like I hate to say it, the defense just kind of gave them the game, and Greenville kind of had their way with us. We can't make it easy for them. Darren and Ryan and Justin all talked about as well in the post game show about how it's kind of annoying how this team has to go down a goal to then kind of kick it into gear. And it's like I'm in my head, I kind of feel like Greenville's already going to score, right? So then can the kickers do enough to get a goal back and sustain it to hold on to a draw?
Yeah, and I think it's more not beating yourself down there. Like if they uncork another 25-yard belter, okay, good on you.
Yeah.
But if it's another one where it's a sloppy giveaway and we beat ourselves, less good.
Yeah. Like it's weird to say, but like I could live losing that game 1-0 if it's on like a 25, 30-yard rocket. This is like that's like
good for you.
Like okay, you got that. Like I can't do anything about that. But if it's like a situation where like Lexington, where we tied the game up and then immediately let them score,
yeah, no,
I would have some issues.
Yeah, or you don't make the obvious tactical foul and let them get a break.
Yeah. Anyone you think going to start, or do you think it's going to be the same? Like we know it's going to be Emmy, Neil.
I mean, I'm sure I would be very surprised if Bill Hart didn't come back into the first team.
Yeah.
Like maybe I don't know if either him or Landon are comfortable enough playing on the left, or if they're both right side guys. But if you can find a way to fit both of them on there, that might be something. I think you see Maxie back in the team.
Yeah, Maxie. Center backs, I'm pretty sure it's going to be Ging, Griffin, Simon. I think the biggest.
I've given up trying to predict the center backs.
Yeah. Oddly enough, man, I remember at one point we had no center back. What was it last year? We had no center back depth. Now we got 4 center backs. What is this?
Yeah,
this is hilarious. So yeah, anything else from you, man? I mean, I feel like we kind of did this show kind of quickly.
Well, I mean, I think there's the other news that you made reference to that we're going to come back to, like Griffin signing.
Duh. Yeah, I forgot all about that. I'm glad you said that. Sorry, listeners. Yeah, youth update. So Gabe Cox has gone down to Furman. Noah, right? He was at the stadium last night actually because they were hosting the William and Mary soccer team. He was there. He's gone down to William and Mary, and then the biggest news: Griffin Garnett has signed a deal with the Richmond Kickers. So, I mean, this is not. Yeah, this is what now the 3rd Academy player to sign under Darren? Landon, Beckett, and now him.
Yeah, under this iteration, like I can make an argument about Simon. Like it's not the same spirit of signing an Academy guy, but I mean he came all the way through and everything. So
yeah, he's ours. We play
yeah.
So I mean that's. I mean, look, I know there's a lot of stuff to be tossed in there right now, but you do have to give credit to him for bringing these guys through. And, they're young. So we're probably not going to see them, the prime version of them, ever. You hope you don't, because you hope these guys only get better and better and better. But for them to convince Griffin Garnett to sign, I was shocked. Like when they with the they put that emoji out there with the signing and whatnot. I thought it was like a new player or something. I did not think it was going to get Griffin because from talking for this period, I was swear that boy was going to go play Big Ten soccer in Washington.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, yeah, this is usually the time of year where you get teams signing random guys from a USL 2 team because their season finished up, and you want to bring in some reinforcement for the end of the season, pushing for the playoffs, or playoff teams, and you're looking for depth. So I think everybody just kind of assumed it was one of those types of guys.
Yeah.
At first, and I just didn't think it'd be this time of year. Also, they clearly signed him like weeks ago. Because you can see in the pictures and everything, unless it's very coincidental that his parents were wearing the same exact outfits that they're wearing in all the YouTube videos that they just rolled out, which clearly they started taping a few weeks back because that's when they started sharing them.
Yeah.
And that happened then. And
Yeah.
that's and then there's clearly a rollout like, hey, look at what we're doing. And, oh, here's a cherry on top.
Also, let me ask you about, like, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about the YouTube videos right now? Shout out to Nate and Maddie for doing those. Those look pretty good. But like, as a supporter, like, how do you feel about the club making it known, like, we're going down this direction? This is how and why we're doing it.
Torn. Like, I think they were well done. So first and foremost, they're like always good to see well produced content coming out of the team.
Yeah.
I think this is the sort of thing where if it came out in the off season, it'd be far more palatable to the fans, right? I think when after coming off of a season where the bottom falls out, and the talk at the end of last year is we're definitely going to make the playoffs next year. This is an aberration, blah 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 blah, and then I mean, look, it's not hard to look at the standings. The team's in 10th place. Right now they're out of the Jaeger Cup with 2 games out of 8 to play. It's not been a successful season on the field again. And then we started to hear the little whispers of like, oh well, this is going to be a project. This is going to be a long term sort of thing. Like that would be a lot more. It's not that it's not believable. It'd be taken a lot better if that was the phrasing before the team started losing, right?
Yeah.
And so, well, big picture, yeah, I think it's a good idea. Be able to grow from within. Like you got guys in academy contracts that you don't have to pay that can actually contribute. That's good news. So I think again the big picture there it makes sense. The timing of the messaging, the way the messaging comes out, and like Darren saying that then they're like oh because I know everybody's going to complain about this or something. We're still going to try to sign, and these guys like don't even bring that up at that point. Like you don't need to take shots at fans. Like he does that every week.
Yeah.
We hear it like what do you want us to say? Good job. It hasn't been.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that, man. I think now everyone should be aware of where the kickers are and where the kickers stand. Like this team isn't going to be. First of all, we're one of the few teams in the black in USL League One, which that might seem like, oh yeah, like why do I care about the finance of the club? Like it's big because back in 2018, like 2019, like this game came close to not existing. Like
that's happened a few times over the years.
Yeah, like the pandemic. Like if this team was in the championship of the pandemic, we wouldn't have had this podcast. Like so.
I mean, I can go back to like 2005. Like the team lost in the it was then called USL 1, so basically the current version of the championship. To the Seattle Sounders on penalty kicks, and relegated the next week. Because had to spend so much money to be able to do all the playoff travel and do everything else that the financials were a complete mess.
Yeah, like 2017, 2018 was a mess. Like the roster wise, because this team was like we were buying players on like a bit part contracts. Like we were hiring mercenaries and we finished horrible. Those years really shaped me as a fan. I think that's why I can tolerate this. But yeah, what I'm just saying is it's good to see that the front office, the coaching staff are on the same page with this, where like if they're going this route of developing their own players, which is smart. Like you spend less on trying to bring guys in, trying to sign big name contracts. My only thing is, and I kind of asked this question to Nate, but I think we'll get a better answer on Wednesday. Which, by the way, if you're a season ticket holder, make sure you respond to Chris's email about the season ticket holder event, which is Wednesday at 5:30 at the stadium for the Academy game. But I think the question I asked was, is the idea purpose of it for us to supplement players like 12 through 18 with youth and a couple of guys that are coming up and go big on the starting 11? And if that's the intended case, like, all right, cool, I can get behind it, right? Like, it's unreal to expect your team to win a title every year, unless you're Union Omaha or Greenville, which you live in Lululand. But like, if as long as this team is competitive and they are building towards something, I can get behind that. I can support that, and that's it.
Yeah.
With this video now, I think there's one more to come out, but with the two videos that come out now, like, it makes it clearer. And I think that's the thing that was really hampering a lot of fans. Granted, not also from the success we've seen, but just with the normal expectation has been with the kickers. And seeing what other teams in the league are doing. Granted, those teams are in the red, but those teams also have owners with quote-unquote deep pockets. And Richmond doesn't have that. So they have to do things on their purpose. But yeah, I give you your point as well. Like, if this was put out, like, it isn't no fault to Nate and Maddie and them. Like, but if you just did this video like around January, February, it makes what's going on now this season a little bit more easier to digest.
Yeah, even March, like in preseason.
Yeah.
So there's that, and I think signing Griffin is good. First step towards proof of concept. But if they want to become that selling club, like, all right, you need to make sure that you're moving him along, Landon along to a spot where you can be able to sell them for enough to make this project worth its while.
Yeah.
Right, because if you're just selling them all for like I'm just picking a really random number, like $25K to some random team in the USL Championship, is that really making a difference? When it comes to bottom line, when it comes to budget. I don't know. Is that going to be, enough of a carrot to get, young guys to want to sign up? Like, oh, we'll sell you to a championship club. Like, I don't know, right? But if you're able to, find a way to get them, up to, an MLS roster, or, to random European, team X, doesn't even need to be a good one. Could just be any random one. Like, okay, then you can start, to be able to work on, having this be a ongoing, potentially sustainable, thing. But so. Yeah, step one, I think, moving in the right direction right now, but, there's more to come, before we can be able to say, it's working, I think. And that's just going to take a little bit of time, but that's also, the perpetually dangerous thing, it's like, oh, well, we just need a little more time. We just need a little more time. It's, that's the classic politician sort of thing. Like, reelect me and we'll do this. Reelect me and we'll be able to get it through this time. And so on and so on.
I think the thing, I think, like, we've all talked about it, like, if Landon, Griffin, Beck are here at like 22, 23, something's not right. Yes, something's not right. Now, if we move them on and they come back, like, say, 29, 30, like, all right, cool, right? But I think, like, it should really be 2 to 3 years they're here, and then they should be moving on. No more.
Yeah, they're here and can appropriately go out, with the team after the game. Problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, because that's the thing too. Like, you don't want to then, like, you don't want those guys who are, the 12 to 18 to clog up the roster spots for the next wave to come through, because then you have like a back. It just backs up where guys be like, all right, there's no movement in the 11 for me.
Right. Well, why would a young guy want to sign up for that then?
Yeah. Why would I want to stay for that, where I can just go somewhere else and potentially start? So, kudos to them, man. And also, Academy game happened today. They won 6-1 against Wake FC, so that's cool. The next two games are against NCFC. Kind of a little rivalry there, but if they beat them, I don't know if they have to beat them once or twice. I think let's just go with twice. Just beat them twice. They will go to the playoffs, which will be in December. which is a long time away, but because you're dealing with high school kids, it's December. So you have that to look forward to. But they kind of team's been really well. I think they only have the one loss of the year or tie.
Trying to pull up the standings now.
I know it's like 6-1-0, but I don't know if the tie or loss. It's kind of that certain. But while you're doing that, like, I was got a chance to meet the new assistant head coach, Riddy, who happy birthday to him. He is a little man. I was shocked.
Inappropriate.
Like, so in my head, when the photo happened, I just assumed he was like my height, right? I just assumed. And then standing beside him, I was like, oh, you're my wife's height. I said this all in my head. It just caught me off guard. But it was also cool to see him kind of work while the game was going on because he's sitting in the press box and he's watching the game. And like anytime there was a bad pass or like someone didn't play the ball into an open position, he kind of just slammed his fist on the table. It was like, oh, this guy is like, he is anal, but in a good way. So, yeah, I don't really know what an opposition coach does. I guess just scouts the opposition beforehand, which you would think we would already have. But it's good to see we have a dedicated coach towards it now. And I also think he's a youth coach as well.
Yeah, they said he was coaching, I think, like the 16s and 17s, something like that.
Yeah. Which, have you seen the coaches for the Richmond United or the Richmond Kickers program? There's a couple of like old Kickers players in there, like Greg Beam and
there's usually guys like that sticking around.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I remember you guys.
Yeah, so I pulled up the academy standings. Yeah, right now, assuming this is up to date, the Kickers and NCFC are both 6-1, so we're up on them by 2 on goal difference. I have no idea what the tiebreakers would be.
No, not either. But is the one like a loss or a tie?
No, we're both 6 wins, 1 loss.
Okay, that's right. Okay. All right. Well, yeah. So we have that. But we'll try to keep up with the kids, see how they're doing, matriculating. I know Gabe is taking photos down at Furman. I don't know if he'll get a start. Maybe. We'll see.
Well, I mean, season doesn't start for another week or 2 for college.
Oh, okay. Matt, you know more than what I do about college soccer.
Yeah. I think most teams started doing like preseason, scrimmages, friendlies, whatever you want to call them, this weekend.
Okay. Is Furman any good in soccer?
I mean, once upon a time. No. I don't know if they are right now. I don't know if they've been in a while, but pulling up their schedule. Yeah, I mean, obviously, Furman's got one big, chip in, their column. You know what that is, right?
No.
Clint Dempsey played for Furman.
Oh, well, didn't know that. Learn something new every day.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, I believe Kickers legend Ronnie Pascal, also a Furman guy.
Huh. That's impressive.
I could be getting mixed up there, but I feel like I remember that to be true. So, Furman played their first exhibition against Kickers coaching staff favorite High Point.
Oh yeah,
they lost.
That's another kick and stopping ground. Get more players from High Point.
Clearly they don't have that much detail about a preseason game on their website.
No.
But they got one more exhibition, and their first real game is against Wilmington on the 22nd.
All right. Well, we'll try to keep up to date with it, see how he does. Hopefully Gabe and Noah get some minutes this season, and we'll see him in Kickers Red soon enough. Maybe they'll be the next Simon Fitch, and you won't have to buy any more players.
Who knows?
Yeah, that's the hope. All right, Matt. Anything else for you, Matt, before we wrap up today's show?
Probably, but I can't think of what it is right now, so no.
There you go. Oh, also, listeners, just to let you know, Chenier is good. He is arrived safely in Minnesota. He has moved to Minnesota, for those who didn't know.
Voluntarily, too.
Yeah. He's doing well. He should be back on the show probably next season. We're just gonna put that out there right now. Expect sooner, but just expect next season.
Do we know if they have reliable internet connections in Minnesota?
We are going to hope they do and pray. We are going to hope and pray. He's not out in the boonies anymore, so maybe that helps a lot. Like having electricity poles goes a long way. Yeah. But yeah, for that, I think that's everything. We talked about the game, we talked about the good, a little bit of the bad, talked about the kids. Looks like our average day. But with that being said, folks, as always, we just want to say thank you for taking the time of your day for listening to our show. Because without you, we couldn't do this. And we probably wouldn't want to do this. So, once again, thank you. Hopefully I see some of your bright, smiling faces on Wednesday. If not, possibly Friday, where we're cheering on the Kickers, and you got Saturday to yourself. So yay! Go us. Yeah, but with that being said, me and Matt will holler at you guys next week, where we'll hopefully be talking about a Kickers draw or win. That works out well for us. So yeah, see you guys next time. Be easy, be safe.